anything that you may want to confess tonight before you go in?
I keep everything right here. There you go. Or right.
Testimony, again, graphic. Ventura's husband, Alex Fine, at one point walking out of court as his wife was peppered with questions about allegedly being raped. Also today, Dawn Richard spotted entering court, the former member of Diddy's girl group, Danity Kane, who prosecutors also called to the...
Challenging, but also remarkably empowering and healing for me. I hope that my testimony has given strength and a voice to other survivors and can help others who have suffered to speak up and also heal from the and fear. For me, the more I heal, the more I can remember. And the more I can remember, the more I will never forget.
Welcome back. Let's spill the tea on today's biggest celebrity stories. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to get your daily dose of scandal and glamour. Cute? Nah, not once you know what was really going down. That smile Cassie was flashing, it was a mask, straight up survival mode. Behind that calm face was 10 whole years of pain, twisted mind games, and straight up horror. Word on the street is, Diddy didn't just snap that night at the Met Gala, he allegedly beat her in the bathroom. And guess what? Some celebs saw it happen and just turned away like it was nothing. Fast forward to now. Cassie walked into that courtroom 9 months pregnant and dropped truth bombs that shook the whole place. What she exposed? Dark freak-off parties, being forced into things with strangers, then used as blackmail material later. She opened up about emotional breakdowns so deep. She said she wanted to walk into traffic. She even said her relationship with Diddy made her feel like Tina Turner with Ike. Eat the cake, anime. Kind of abuse. And now that video footage is being shown in court, it's over. That courtroom ain't never gonna be the same. Doors flew open, secrets are spilling, and Diddy's whole image is crumbling fast. But here's the wild part. Diddy's lawyers trying to flip it like she should have spoken up earlier. They're asking, if life was so bad, why didn't she leave? But the answer? Chills. It's simple. Fear. Straight up fear. She said she was terrified. Like, one wrong move and she didn't know what Diddy might do. That's how deep his control ran. Now the world's watching. And the truth? It ain't just messy, it's dangerous. Cassie didn't just drop Ike Turner's name for shock value. She meant it. That was a loaded shot straight from the heart. Those 8 words, they carried decades of pain, trauma, and domination. Because if you know about Ike and Tina, you already know it wasn't just about bruises. It was psychological warfare. Controlling what she wore, how she moved, what she said, even how she smiled. And Cassie laid it all out in court. She said it straight. What she went through wasn't just random. It was methodical. She was still a teen when it started, just a young, bright-eyed singer chasing her dreams. And Diddy, he was almost 40. Instead of guiding her, he locked her down like she was property. They asked her, when did you sign with Bad Boy Records? 2006. How many albums dropped after that? None. Let that sink in. A 10-album deal turned into one. That's not a label deal, that's a trap. Instead of launching her career, she got locked into a cage of manipulation and control. Cassie told the court she wasn't just a victim. She was groomed into submission. At first, he made her feel chosen, special. Then, little by little, he stripped her freedom until there was nothing left but silence and fear. She said she had to pretend everything was fine, just like Tina, smile in public, suffer in private. But that silence, it's done. Cassie dropped bomb after bomb. Freak-offs with male escorts, being forced to participate while under the influence, humiliated, recorded without consent, assaulted, and that ain't even the worst of it. She told the court he urinated on her, like she wasn't even human. This ain't just a messy breakup, this is a full-blown pattern of control and cruelty. When Daniel Phillips hit the stand, what he said had the whole courtroom frozen. His testimony, straight up horrifying. He claimed Diddy forced him to do unthinkable things to Cassie while she was choking and filmed it, not for pleasure, for blackmail. That same man said he personally witnessed Diddy assault Cassie twice. He described Diddy grabbing her by the hair, dragging her screaming into a bedroom, and then what he heard next sounded like slaps. Chills. Real talk. This ain't just abuse, this is warped. Now here's where it gets even darker. Cassie herself backed it all up in court, in her own words. She testified, "Why were you choking me with too much in my mouth? Who else you want to do that to you? You, Sean? Did you want Shaw to do that to you?" And when asked if she wanted that done to her, I didn't want anyone to do that to me. Then came the dagger. How often did it happen? Her answer? Often enough. Let that settle in for a second. And it didn't stop there. Cassie dropped another gut punch. I was expected to do freak-offs while on my period. When asked if she agreed to that, no. Her voice cracked, but her words, undeniable. This wasn't about wild parties. It was about ownership, humiliation, and control. Every sentence out of her mouth painted a picture of a woman trapped in a nightmare, one that the world is only just beginning to understand. Cassie's tears hit hard, so hard, they had folks in the courtroom crying right along with her. But the quote that shattered the room, the one that made it clear this ain't about money, was when she said, "I would give the money back because I would have agency and autonomy, and I wouldn't have to work so hard to get those things back." She was talking about that 20 million Diddy gave her to settle the lawsuit, 20 mil, and she said she'd give it all up just to have her freedom back. That's not heartbreak. That's a woman screaming from her soul to be free. That's why her text about Ike Turner was brought into the courtroom. Because this ain't just about trauma, it's about freedom, the same kind Tina Turner fought for. Tina once said, "I felt obligated to stay. I was afraid. I didn't want to hurt him. And after he beat me up, I sat there, bruised, torn, and felt sorry for him. Maybe I was brainwashed." And Cassie? She said the same thing. She used to blame herself. She carried the shame, covered the bruises, smiled in public when inside she was screaming. She hid everything behind a polished image, living a double life just to survive. She was never just a pop star. She was a prisoner wearing makeup and high heels, and the world had no idea. To the public, she was flawless, glowing, a fashion icon. But when Cassie looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. She said it plain, "I felt like an object, being heavily objectified by men." And while reliving the nightmare on that witness stand, the trauma hit so hard, her own husband had to leave the courtroom. That's how deep it cut. Yeah, she got a $20 million settlement, but she still showed up. 9 months pregnant, stomach out, eyes fierce. She didn't come for cash. She came to reclaim herself, her voice, her life. But just as her courtroom testimony started slipping off the trending page, boom, a storm hit harder than anyone expected. Out of nowhere, the 2018 Met Gala interview resurfaced. And this time, it wasn't just Cassie talking. It was visual proof. Her face, her eyes, that exact moment in time, now crystal clear in 4K, playing for the world to see. And suddenly, it all clicked. The Met Gala was supposed to be fashion's most glamorous night, but that year, behind the scenes, something dark was lurking. Something real twisted, and nobody said a word until now. That clip didn't just go viral. It exposed what everyone missed the first time. The fake smiles, the stiffness, the tension you could feel through the screen. It was all there, hiding in plain sight. And now, the truth can't be unseen. Back then, folks brushed it off. Thought Cassie was just giving mysterious diva energy. Maybe a little shy, maybe just playing it cool. But now, looking back, it feels like a straight-up code. Like she was blinking in Morse, sending a silent SOS while draped in designer, hoping someone, anyone, would see past the glitz, past the gown, and save her. Because behind the glam, Cassie says she was living in pure hell, controlled, humiliated, and beaten daily. And that very night at the 2018 Met Gala, multiple sources claim something horrific happened. Cassie was allegedly assaulted by Diddy in a bathroom at the event. And here's the part that'll haunt you. Other celebrities were there, and they just watched, did nothing. That's the twisted part about predators like Diddy. It don't always happen behind closed doors. They hurt you in front of people, knowing nobody's bold enough to say a word. That silence, it's protection, not for the victim, for him. And just days ago, Cassie told the court what that world looked like. A place where she wasn't allowed to say no, where her time, her body, even her health was micromanaged. For what? Freak-offs. That was her full-time job. No studio sessions, no tours, just being prepped, used, and then left to recover before the next one. She wasn't living, she was surviving. And the people around her, they saw the signs and still chose silence. Cassie told the court what came after the freak-offs, and it was brutal. She said she was left with sores and constant UTIs that wouldn't even respond to antibiotics anymore. When asked if it was painful, she didn't hold back. Yes, very. They asked what it felt like during the freak-offs. She said just one word that echoed through the room: burning, then added, "I would not advise it." But it wasn't just the physical pain, it was psychological warfare too. She wasn't just forced to participate, she was allegedly recorded, without consent, then blackmailed with the footage. She said straight up, "One time I was dating someone else, and he threatened to release the freak-off videos. I'd have to explain that to my mother." Her voice cracked. "It's horrible and disgusting. No one should do that to anyone." Then came the chilling question. What did Sean say the impact would be? Her answer? Shame. And just like that, all eyes turned back to that Met Gala footage. What once looked like awkward red carpet clips now felt like evidence. The stiff posture, the nervous smile, Diddy standing right behind her, grinning, watching, hovering. And what no one saw on the live stream, according to insider whispers and courtroom bombshells, after the carpet, Cassie was allegedly beaten in a private bathroom that same night, and she wasn't alone. Other celebs were reportedly right there, maybe even in the room. Whether they heard the slap, the cries, or saw her come out shaken and broken, no one stepped in. Not one, because in 2018, Diddy wasn't the accused. He was still the king, Puff, Brother Love, the untouchable mogul who could end a career with a single call. And that fear, that silence, it protected him, not her. To the outside world, Cassie was just another pretty face who got lucky by dating the boss. That's how people saw it, like she scored a golden ticket. But behind the scenes, she was living in pure hell. And that night at the Met Gala, it became the perfect snapshot of the double life she was trapped in. Cassie said it herself, 10 years of hiding bruises under couture gowns, flashing smiles while her spirit was shattered, a glamorous mask worn to survive. Meanwhile, Diddy, her partner, her abuser, stood beside her, accepted by everyone because he was writing the checks, a whole room full of powerful insiders, and they all looked the other way. Not my business, right? She kept showing up pretending everything was fine, but inside she was crumbling. She testified, "There was a time I couldn't take the pain, and I tried to walk out into traffic." That's how deep it got. And the abuse? It wasn't just verbal or mental, it was violent. She said Diddy would slam her into walls, stomp on her face, drag her across hotel floors. One time, she was even thrown across patio furniture after being dangled off a balcony. And here's the thing, it's not just her word against his. The world saw proof. A hotel surveillance video from 2016 finally surfaced, and what it showed was undeniable. No more rumors, no more cover-ups. The footage backed it all up, and now there's no looking away. The internet exploded with rumors. Outrage was everywhere. But Diddy's team? Silent. No statements, no charges, no accountability. For years, that 2016 hotel clip floated around, edited, blurred, missing context. But now, that full 15-minute uncut version got played in its entirety in the Manhattan federal courtroom. No music, no commentary, just raw, disturbing reality. According to reporters in the room, you could hear a pin drop. That edited version we all saw online, that was nothing. Light work compared to the real tape. The uncut footage showed everything. Exactly what Cassie claimed happened right before and after. She wasn't being dramatic. She was trying to escape. No shoes, running to the front desk, barefoot and panicked, begging for help. The tape shows Diddy chasing her down, dragging her back, and allegedly destroying the hotel room in a rage. But it didn't stop with just the video. Federal agents brought in physical evidence, cash, baby oil, and more. Items Cassie had explicitly mentioned as part of the freak-off setup. And guess what? They were all recovered from Diddy's hotel suite the night he got taken into custody. The jury didn't just see a violent outburst, they saw a pattern. They held the receipts. Then, the prosecution delivered the knockout. One single question, no fluff, no buildup. And when they asked it, the whole courtroom went dead silent. Did he beat you during the freak-offs? That was the question. Cassie didn't need to say a word. Her eyes said everything. The courtroom felt it, yes. And now, this isn't just about claims. We're talking surveillance footage, eyewitnesses, federal raids, visible bruises, and most of all, a survivor finally standing up, risking everything just to reclaim her peace. But here's the painful part. Why did it take this long for the world to believe her? See, Cassie wasn't hidden in some basement. She wasn't locked away. She was in the limelight, on red carpets, posted up in VIP booths, front row at Fashion Week, hand in hand with Diddy at the Met Gala, the Grammys, the BET Awards. She was everywhere, all eyes on her, and still, no one stepped in. Now the truth's finally out. Cassie confirmed what folks whispered for years, that Diddy kept a tight circle, assistants, bodyguards, industry homies. And within that circle, she was pushed, slapped, stomped on, sometimes in full view of the people around him. And what did they do? Nothing. She shared a chilling moment. After one especially violent night, she showed up to a party bruised and limping. And instead of concern, a BET executive told her, smile. Smile? Because when you're dealing with Diddy, it's all about appearances. You don't ask questions. You don't challenge the vibe. You laugh. You pose for the camera. You play the role. Because nobody in that room wanted to be the one to ruin the image. Not when it meant crossing the man who could flip your whole career with one call. Cassie wasn't invisible. She was in plain sight. And still they let it happen. Over and over. And the few people who did try to help Cassie, they either got shut out or shut down. One time, even after being physically beaten, Cassie reached out to someone she trusted, her ex, Scott Mescudi, aka Kid Cudi. And what was Diddy's response? Cassie testified. Sean said he wanted Scott's friends to see Scott's car blown up. Yeah, you heard that right. Not a threat, not just words. Cudi's actual car was blown up after Cassie went to him for help. That's not drama, that's a message, a warning shot for anyone even thinking about getting involved. Sounds like a movie plot? That's the reality Cassie says she was living. Because this is how Diddy allegedly moved. Money, intimidation, silence, power used like a weapon. Daniel Phillips, the male escort who testified last week, said the same thing when asked why he stayed quiet. His answer? I saw him as someone with unlimited power. Even if I went to the police, I thought I might still lose my life. Let that sink in. It wasn't just fear, it was hopelessness. And even for those not directly threatened, in an industry obsessed with image, who's really gonna speak up when the man pulling the strings is also the one cutting the checks? Now let's talk about Dawn Richard, a name y'all know from Danity Kane, another artist under Diddy's wing. She too was called to testify, and guess what? She filed her own lawsuit in 2023, accusing him of abuse and exploitation, just like Cassie. This ain't isolated. This ain't random, it's a pattern, and more names keep surfacing. Dawn Richard wasn't just a witness. She was there, worked with Cassie for years, saw it all up close, and now she's done staying quiet. She recalled one night where Diddy lost it. Cassie came downstairs asking about his phone, and just like that, he snapped. Dawn said he threw her to the ground, tried to kick her while she was down. Cassie curled into the fetal position, just trying to shield her head, and it didn't stop there. Dawn also claimed she watched Diddy hit Cassie with a skillet full of eggs, a whole frying pan. She wanted to speak out, but the fear, it was paralyzing. She wasn't just scared for Cassie, she was scared for her own life. Still, even as survivors like Cassie and Dawn step forward, the silence from Hollywood is loud. Where's the accountability from all the stars who walked red carpets with Diddy? Who posted the Me Too when it was trending, then scrolled right past Cassie's pain like it didn't exist? Let's keep it real. For 1 second, the industry protected him. They looked the other way because Diddy had the power, the fame, the hits. He was bad boy royalty, and nobody wanted to risk losing access to those VIP perks. To them, Cassie wasn't a victim. She was a kept woman, young, gorgeous, living the dream, right? They didn't see the abuse. They saw privilege. But now, with tapes, photos, and a full 15-minute hotel surveillance video, the silence still continues, like the receipts don't matter. When Cassie left that courtroom, she didn't say much. She didn't have to. Her lawyer did the talking. And what she said, it landed like a sledgehammer. And that wasn't just some press statement. That was a warning, a mission. Cassie ain't just fighting for herself anymore. She's speaking up for every woman who's ever been groomed, silenced, and left behind, while a man in power soaked up all the spotlight. This week, chaos. The industry's shaking. Because if Diddy falls, he's not going down solo, he's taking others with him. And believe this, some of the biggest names in the game are sweating right now. So now I gotta ask you, do you really think Cassie was the only one? Be honest. Why do you think so many celebs stood there in silence for so long? They saw the bruises, heard the whispers, watched it happen, and still said nothing. And what about those videos? Do you think this is it? Or are there more tapes out there, just waiting to drop and take this whole empire down? Let me know what you think in the comments below, because one thing's for sure. This storm is just getting started, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share to stay in the loop with all the latest tea. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll catch you in the next video.